Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last? I lied. Get off my plane.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
John, I'm not gonna shoot you between the eyes. Shoot you between the balls.
Your disease, but I'm the cure.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. There can be only one.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Yippee-ki-yay. I'm going to kill them all, sir.
God, give me that fucking mic. It's my time to
No,
shine.
look,
Hey,
no,
God, this is
no,
my action
no,
show time.
no.
I'm the one that's going to host it.
No. Okay?
Why? No.
Because you set this up that we recorded a shit ton of episodes. We're all happy and jovial and friends. And the last one we ended on was Feast. And that was your fucking fault.
Your
And
fault.
now you think you're going to come in here and be like, oh, nothing ever happened.
Nothing
We're
ever happened.
That was a
At
month
all.
ago, Charlie. No, it wasn't. Not for us. Not for
Not
Pete.
for us.
Not for me. It was only like a week and a half ago that we had to sit through that shit.
I've been in black myself. I don't know what you're talking about. I forget all about these movies.
How
that
did
you're
you?
talking
Do you
about.
have? Oh, and we were just over there too, and you didn't share that with us.
Yeah,
I
no
know.
flashy thingy for
What a
us.
Flashy
at all.
thingy for you.
You're an
One
ass.
battery.
One
You only get
time
one use. You have to really make sure that you decide when to use it.
One time.
You used it
flashy
wisely.
thing.
Yeah.
So no. You picked this
No,
movie, but
let
no,
me-
you
yeah,
don't. No,
I picked
no,
this movie,
no,
so
no, no.
this doesn't feel
Sit
right
down.
then.
Sit down. Sit.
Sit.
Yeah.
I'm on my high horse right now. I'm on my
Not-
pedestal.
you shouldn't be.
I
shouldn't
feel like
be.
I'm allowed.
Definitely not be wearing that.
I
kilt,
have
that's for
punished.
sure.
I have punished Pete for less. Okay,
This is
Do you
true.
understand that?
You
I have
an entire rating system because of a film that I picked.
right.
Yeah,
And
what I
Nate-
did was I
Nate broke it.
almost took an entire Pete month and threw it into one episode where it
Oh,
took 3 weeks to
right.
deal with Pete. I did it in one.
And I feel like Pete and I haven't really got our say out because we recorded all of December before we did Feast.
Yeah,
so
but
now
now
that now it's
it's-
January.
it's the new year. It's January. Things are cool now.
no.
It's-
We're cool.
It's
that
not
wound
cool.
is still real fresh right now because technically these next two are also being recorded early so we can enjoy Christmas and the holidays
Yeah.
calmly. So pretty soon in the next couple of weeks we'll be back on track with some awesome stuff we got planned out for January. But I had to give Nate some shit. He's been, walking around like he did nothing wrong for
I did.
way too
Oh
long.
yeah, cock
Yeah.
the walk over there.
That's
Ooh,
right.
That's
I'm
me.
Nate. I went to GalaxyCon. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah,
I met
a month ago. So,
Bruce Boxleiter.
but
I hung out with the director of Wishmaster. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
yeah. All
Barry
right, but
Bostwick, not Bruce Boxleiter. What the fuck
I
am I
don't-
talking about?
I'm already upset about the Barry Bostwick thing. It's okay.
No
It's fine.
shit.
It's fine.
But you took
half
that
my fault.
opportunity and you did it. Mwah.
Yeah. That's right. Bravo for
Bravo.
doing that. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
We'll
for anyone
take
that doesn't know, I kissed my thumb and blew it to Barry Bostwick. He smiled, laughed, and did it right back.
Yes.
As
And it
one
was
can only hope
amazing.
it would happen. Yeah. I mean, that's my dream, but okay, you can have my dream.
You can live
all right.
vicariously through me and the adventures
like-
that I
Did
go
you
on.
say bi-curiously or vicariously?
Vicariously.
Sure. I tried. It's all
Whatever
good.
word that you were wanting to hear.
Barry
Go
Barry
for
is,
it.
like,
Barry is a handsome man and sells underwear, so I
"These
think it
people
might
are
work.
everywhere."
All right. Well, everybody, welcome to the very first episode for a brand new year, 2024. And we decided it's going to start as big as possible.
Not sure we
And
could start it any bigger.
There's very few I could ever come up with that would top this. But
Mhm.
Nate's not incorrect in this selection this week. We're doing Terminator 2. A
Hell yeah,
Judgment
we are.
Day.
Hell yeah, we are.
Oh my
And to-
god.
And just to put the cherry on the Sunday, we got to watch this together.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We all
Wait, actually, I
piled
watched
in
both of
over
them
at
together.
Nate's. We
Pizza
actually did
and
watch
Terminator. Yep,
Yeah,
we
we
did.
watched 1 and
Yeah.
2.
Terminators. Mhm.
So it was a fun time.
We
Now,
watched the only Terminator movies that exist.
right. They
Yes.
stop it too.
Kind of like Indiana
Thanks.
Jones, right? There's only 3 of
Yeah.
those.
There's only 3 of those.
Now there's a really nice fan film called Salvation that's pretty good for a fan film.
Is it?
But as far as the true
It's all right.
the true canon stops at 2. That's where we end everything. But all right, guys. Well, real quick, I know we've started off the rails already, but we had to get that out of the way. Let's get a trailer because I'm not starting 2024 with a movie that doesn't have a trailer. So,
And not a TV spot. This is a trailer.
no, this is a trailer.
Yeah.
You're
Okay,
getting,
okay.
you're getting the full trailer.
Dude.
Oh, it better.
Maybe.
How is Nate?
think-
Shh.
I
Nate.
think
Shh.
that's the one I picked. We'll find out.
Yes.
Same make.
These were taken at the West Highland Police Station, 1984. You were there.
Same model.
These were taken today.
You have to let me see my son. He's in great danger.
New mission. Once he was programmed to destroy the future.
You don't know what it's like to try to kill one of these things.
Now his mission
Get down.
is to protect it.
Come with me if you want to live.
You're really real.
His loyalty is to a child,
Who sent you?
You did. 35 years from now.
and his enemy
He's a Terminator like you, right?
Not like me.
is the deadliest machine ever built.
Can it be destroyed?
Unknown.
This time, there are 2. Terminator 2.
You just can't go around killing people.
Why?
If you thought you had seen it all, look again.
Stay down!
Go! Now!
We gotta stick together!
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. This time, he's back. For good.
Trust me.
It's everything you could ever want in a movie
There-
trailer.
that is explosive. Gunfights.
You had trailer voice.
Yeah.
Trailer voice guy, one-liner after
Exploding bits,
one-liner.
one-liners.
Just
yeah.
Arnold being Arnold.
But now, before we get too far away from the trailer, because this goes right with talking about the trailer, there is a really, really, really good trailer for Terminator 2, and it's the teaser trailer. And we pulled it up on YouTube and we all watched it
Oh,
together.
yeah.
And it's the one I remember too. And Nate was telling us that it was completely done by Stan Winston, and it has no scenes from the movie whatsoever, but it's the Terminator assembly line where you're watching all of the endoskeletons getting put together, and then at the end it clamshells over top of them and then pops open, and then it's Arnold right there and all his skin and stuff. And that trailer is amazing. There's just zero dialogue whatsoever. So I recommend everybody just go back on YouTube and check that trailer out, because it looks amazing. I remember it as a kid, just this jaw drop, like, whoa. And I had not seen Terminator by that time. I was still, this came out in 91. So I was 11. So this was still, Terminator was out even earlier. So, and that one, okay. I'm gonna let. I watched Terminator 2 before I watched Terminator.
Same.
Yeah. I saw
So-
Aliens before Alien.
Yeah.
I did see Terminator before because it did come up on HBO once or twice.
Yeah.
So I had seen it before.
Took me a
before
while to
two.
see the first one because they never played the first one on television back then. that
No,
on-
I don't remember.
not
being
on
TV.
broadcast.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
like,
I don't-
it was one of those that never got
It was
played.
it was genuinely too violent, even though it wasn't terribly.
Yeah, what
bloody.
do you cut? What do you cut that
Well,
makes
exactly.
the movie
Yeah,
watchable?
That's
in the
what's
first
funny
one?
though.
Mhm.
Terminator 2 was played everywhere. Like,
It's
you
not
couldn't
that-
turn
cut
on the
enough of that
TV.
out. You
It-
could cut
it-
enough of that violence out for
Yeah.
it to be a-okay for TV. It was still rated R though. And
Oh,
I got a
this
story.
is
I got a story about that later.
well. I mean, we can kind of go into our histories about
Sure.
it, but and I'll start because I know what my first action movie was, and that was Delta Force, R-rated action movie. I am pretty positive that Terminator 2 is it within the next 5 R-rated action movies I watched as a kid. And I remember this clear as day. My dad took mom to go see this in the theaters for like their anniversary or something. It was just this weird thing when an Arnold movie would come out, dad wanted to go watch it. He was like his favorite actor. And they were talking about when this was getting ready to come out on VHS. We were at a family, like, I want to think it was like a company picnic, but my uncle owned a pharmacy and almost everyone in the family worked there. So it was a family / company picnic.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all sitting on, the kids are sitting on the picnic table. The parents are off to the side. And my cousins were talking about, oh, there's a Terminator movie coming out, Terminator 2. I saw the preview. Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, it's awesome. Man, I can't wait to watch that. I can't. Charlie, you won't get to see it, will you? And I was like, hey, Dad, and hollered over at him at the table. Yeah. Will I get to watch Terminator 2 when it comes out on VHS? Is that one you'll let me see? And he paused for about 5 seconds, and he goes, yeah, you'll get to watch it when it comes out. My cousins are like, what?
Oh,
You literally got permission right then and there that when
Cool.
this come out, it's coming out. And the more I've watched this movie, there's still some violence in it, but it's not like gratuitous. This is damn near a good kids action R-rated
It's
movie.
way up there.
Well, there's a reason
Agreed.
why I think the marketing was aimed towards kids so much because, yeah, I mean, it really is.
Oh, they had a
like,
giant toy line.
He's-
for
yeah,
Oh,
like
God,
the,
the
toy,
toy
line.
I've
Oh,
got
they were
I got
everywhere.
the motorcycle behind
comic,
me.
There are comic books.
I-
I've got some RoboCop versus Terminator upstairs. in
Oh,
my
that was
collection
huge
somewhere.
too when
That-
that
there were
came out.
several, and there were. I have the original Dark Horse 4-shot Terminator comic. They were very good.
I still have my original Terminator action figures, not
Wow.
rebought later.
Man,
I had the one where you switch out his arm and he had all the
Yeah,
different attachments. The other one I had was you push his arm down and the whole face of him falls off, and it's the the endoskeleton.
Nice.
And then I had the endoskeleton by itself. And the cool thing was the little hydraulic things at his waist on the real one, they made them out of rubber. So when you spun him around, he would flip back around like
Oh,
a
yeah,
He-Man.
Sure.
And he had like power punch. I still have all those. And then this past year, I picked up the motorcycle
Oh, very
for the
cool.
toy line.
Nice.
So it's really
Hey,
cool.
Was this the toy line that had caps, like cap gun caps?
No, I don't think any of these came out. The
yeah, I don't remember any
RoboCops-
of mine.
I remember action
RoboCops
figures
did
were
caps.
RoboCop. That had to have been.
Yeah. RoboCop had caps, and there was a few others that
Yeah, there's
came
something
out.
you can't make a toy
He-Man,
out of anymore.
He-Man had Thunder Punch, and that was with caps.
You're right.
but-
it was.
Yeah, the Terminator, every one of them had like a gimmick. The T-1000, good Lord, I looked at the figure today. It doesn't look anything like Robert Patrick. And then they
No.
made it where you flip his head down and rockets come out of his back. And I'm like, did they literally say in the movie
Don't worry about
that
that.
he can't form complex
Don't worry about that.
mechanics
None
or
of
chemicals?
the toys like lined up to what was actually in the movie.
Oh
Like,
no, he has a car in the toy line. Every toy line
It's
had
on
a
a motorcycle.
car.
Well, yeah.
At least
They were-
he's on a motorcycle.
They had Batman cars. I'm sure they were just repurposing them.
I mean,
I
there's
was-
one where
that
he's
was the
got like
era.
camo pants. It's like
Oh,
he never
sure.
wore camo pants.
Never did. Never did. So it's pretty wild. But yeah, I'll always remember that just the stunned look of like shock on my cousin's face. And I think when this came out on VHS, it was probably closer to 92, which would have put me at 12 because it always took like a year for them to come out. So I was right in that butter zone of Dad was really selective of the action movies. Terminator 2 has no nudity. He may have skipped the more gratuitous violence, which is the knife through the dude's face with the milk, and then the eyeball with the pointy finger. But I remember he let me see the degloving of the arm to show the robot.
God, that was so cool.
It was so wild.
So wild as a kid.
Like that one's burned in my brain of how awesome that looked. It's still, as a kid, you're excited and you're like, and I had seen without my parents, like famously, I had watched Chopping Mall way too early at a friend's house. But yeah, that's a story. That's a story for Chopping Mall one. But this one was one of those, like, the first time I really think I watched something gross. You know what I mean? Just that whole slice down his forearm and peel it. Still an awesome effect now, but that's me. Nate, you picked this. What's your experience with Terminator?
God, I really wish I could remember the first time I watched this, but I don't. Like, I simply don't.
Yeah.
I do remember the second time I watched it, though, because it was with my little brother. So my little brother is 4 years younger than I am. So he was born in 92. I know that I had seen this previously because this was something that was watched over at Nana's, because this was an event. Like, when Terminator 2 was out, it was huge. I remember them having that recorded off of HBO. So we had like the uncensored cut. I remember it being played on USA Network. Like, this was constantly on. I had the toys. I had the Sega Genesis game. Like,
nice.
Because I loved Arnold. Like,
sure.
But the reason I remember the second time is my little brother was probably 4 when he watched this, or 5. So let's say if he was born in 92, 96 or 97 is when he watched it.
Yeah.
Wow,
So I would have been
5?
8 or 9.
So that's still just a bit young from what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
It's still a little young.
But he cried at the end and kept asking my mom, why did he have to die? And I still make fun of him for crying at the end of Terminator 2. Yep, I definitely do. Because I remember back then going, why are you crying? Like, this is the coolest movie ever. You don't cry during the coolest movie ever. This isn't a girl's movie, Like,
John Connor was crying, damn it.
It turns out maybe my brother was far, far more advanced and intelligence and maturity than I ever was, understanding how deep that scene actually is now as an adult, going, okay, I get why he cried. But at the time, and I remember my mom just being like, oh no, what did I do?
That's one of those.
Because he was heartbroken, just shattered. T3 wasn't out, man. That was it.
Yeah.
It destroyed him. I remember being so puzzled by this.
Wow. That is an amazing
but
story.
I remember, like, you had to have a Terminator 2 toy on the playground. Like, it was a must.
Yeah.
I remember
there wasn't a kid not talking about this movie, whether they actually got to see it or not. This was an event. This was almost, for most kids, as big as Batman. It's like Terminator 2. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It did take a page out of the Batman toy line where
it did.
Hugely.
Let's just,
like, none of this has anything to do with the movie, but we're
going to assault you with it. And then, like, I hated Paramount Kings Island as a kid. Like, I hate rides. They're not for me. But the one thing that I never got to experience, I've already bitched about this before on our episode, was the Terminator 2 3D ride. Because my parents were like, you don't like Kings Island, we're not going to take you. It's a waste of money because you're not going to ride the ride. You're going to think you're going to ride it, but you're not gonna. You're going to chicken out, and we're going to be like, we paid all this money for you to not ride the rides and only spend the money on throwing darts at balloons. No, because that's what I was notorious for.
They were probably right, though.
No,
Let's be
100%
fair.
right, but I'm still
Yeah.
pissed off I've never seen that.
I never got to go see it. We weren't traveling to Ohio at that
Well,
point.
also, like, as an adult, I didn't realize that, well, as a kid, I didn't realize that Paramount was the movie studio that owned Kings Island,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So I don't know. I don't even remember what Kings Island had back in the day that all related to movies that now adult nerd me would geek out over. I know
Right.
one of the Paramount themed restaurants had the Wayne's World restaurant that you could actually sit and eat in. And it's like, that would have been cool to know.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Did-
Terminator 2's just been ingrained into the life, much like RoboCop, where I said, I don't remember. You're born and you know who RoboCop is.
You know who the Terminator is.
Yeah,
Just
you just
flat
kind of
out.
know. Now, I didn't know what Terminator 2 meant. Like, I didn't know the idea of a sequel to a movie back then. You know,
because it wasn't a sequel to us. It was just
Yeah.
T2.
it was T2
That's-
Judgment Day.
It was T2 Judgment Day. Which,
Now, I'm fairly certain if I could find that spine on that VHS, it probably just says T2 Judgment Day,
Yeah.
Right.
absolutely.
So like even the impact of Arnold being the good guy, I didn't get that till much later.
It was crazy. It was
You
so
know?
wild.
So Pete, what was your first experience with this?
I was in high school, so yeah, I'm a little bit older than the two of you,
Just a hair.
and just a
no
hair. I don't got no hair, but I was
Or no hair.
older than right. So I saw it with a couple of friends. We drove out to Lima or something to go see it.
Ew.
Yeah, it was right. Finley's not a lot better, but those are the only two cities in quotation marks that were around us.
Right.
There's a little town about 10 minutes away called Bluffton, and they were showing it at a single screen, sticky floor. They still sold Team with Team, yeah, the clear soda pop. Anyway,
I don't even know what that
Oh
is.
wow!
Yeah.
I don't know what that
yeah,
is.
it had
Yeah.
it was clear soda pop with caffeine in it.
That wasn't Pepsi Clear.
I think it was. I think
You
it
sure
was-
they weren't just selling you guys carbonation and caffeine?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ew.
I don't know.
Oops,
It-
the
it don't
syrup
matter.
ran out.
Anyway,
We just invented a new soda.
we had seen it a couple weeks before, and then I wanted to take my girlfriend out to go see it, so we ran over to Bluffton. Got in line. I was 18 and she was 17, being a rated R movie, and us young people, we were standing in line like good little kids. We get up there and they card us.
Oh.
I got flipping carded at the movie theater. Well, I'm 18, so I'm like, here's my ID. We're good. My girlfriend is 17. So she gives her ID and she says, I can't let you in. Now, I had already paid for the tickets. And I'm like, look, I'm 18. I guess I'm the adult. I can have one with me, right? Girl said, no, she can't come in. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I start arguing with her and I just want to go in and see this goddamn movie, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely refuses to let us both in. And she's like, I'm just going to call the manager and kick your asses out of here. Like, you got to be kidding me. Fine, we'll go somewhere else. May I have my money back, please? She said no.
Oh, hell no.
We are not
So
refunding
that's
your
the
money.
day that Pete left seeing Terminator 2 as a single man, right?
No, we left and we went and made out and made some bad decisions, I'm sure. But yeah, we did not get to see it that night, sadly.
That story would have been way cooler if you left a single man watching Terminator 2
See, it
crying.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
See, it's
Here-
I
here's
got
Cap
me and
Bear.
my clear sody are gonna go watch
Right.
Yeah.
Terminator 2.
call a 1991 Uber. That will make more sense in the future.
You're right. right.
Those are taxis, Nate.
Yeah.
They still
Yeah,
exist.
there were no taxis.
There's no
Yeah.
taxis in the rural areas.
Lima probably still doesn't have
This
Uber.
was not. This was like no. Bluffton is a teeny tiny town. So no. Fast forward to 1996. I have traveled with the Ohio State Marching Band to Orlando, Florida for another Citrus Bowl, and we go to Universal Studios, where, and I had to look this up, they are playing T2 3D Battle Across Time. This was a 3D stunt show. So you had the 3D glasses on, the polarized 3D glasses on. There were stunt people and real fire coming out of the stage.
Nice.
And it was cold as hell in Florida in December. So we were just hopping from inside event to inside event where there was actual heat. So we went into this Terminator 2 3D battle across time thing, and it was cool as hell. We just loved it. We're of course in college and we're all hooping and hollering. It was a lot of fun. That was quite an experience.
I'm not saying this is the most jealous I've ever been of Pete,
Yeah,
but I'm fairly certain this is the
it was
most
pretty cool.
jealous I've ever
So
been of Pete.
You can see a performance of it on YouTube. So if you want to go there later,
I've
on,
actually watched it.
they'll
It's
have
actually
it.
pretty good. Yeah,
It was real good. I had a blast
It
at
looks
it.
so cool.
I didn't own any of the toys. That was just past my interest level.
yeah.
Yeah, it was something that I rented on a fairly frequent basis because it's fucking Terminator 2, man. It's a great film. So
Right.
that's my history, and I don't think I've seen it for a couple of. Oh, it's been probably 10 years since I've seen it. Before we watched it the other night.
It's probably been. I feel like I watched it when I first bought the house. Like, because I got the new TV and kind of wanted to watch Terminator 2, you know. Yeah, just kind of like, oh, cool. Let's see what this is. It's like, oh, this still holds up. This is great. But yeah, I think it's been that long because, like, even in life now, Terminator 2 feels like it should be part of a very special occasion, I guess. Like, I just have to have some sort of grandeur moment to pop in T2.
Not Charlie. Charlie just goes out in the shop and goes, feel like watching Terminator 2, and I pop it in, which is why I'm repeating lines as we're all watching it together because I know this movie by heart.
We're talking, but we're also being relatively quiet for us being together in the same room because we're just in such awe over the craftsmanship
we're taking it in
of the movie. And there's just like, oh, I love this part. This is the part where, you know, he jumps onto the front of the semi truck and just unloads the M16 into the T-1000 space. I love this.
So good.
You know,
Nate loved that. Oh, look at the helicopter go under the bridge. They actually did that. It looks amazing.
Like just the stunt work, the laughing of the semi truck exploding, and you see the mannequin head like bouncing in the driver's seat. And just so much like, oh, that's not Arnold. Oh, that's not Arnold.
Even the shit we were making fun of, it was done in reverence because we were.
Oh, it's all reverence.
So much fun. This, fellas, this is going to be highly ranked, and I might give it some shit tonight, but I do it with all the love in my heart. It's so much fun. We were laughing through the whole thing. It was a special night. It was a special night.
Yeah, it was.
Laughter, joyful laughter is what it was.
Yeah.
Joyful laughter watching this movie.
Three kids
so many
together.
times, and you see the flaws, the cracks in the flaws. First of all, you don't give a shit about these flaws. Second of all, it's a lot of fun to point them out because whatever, it makes it a lot more fun to watch.
Especially when you're watching a movie that you know by heart, but when you finally start seeing it in HD and on a widescreen, you're like,
oh yeah,
I don't remember that. Oh wait, I can actually see that. What's going on there? Oh, caught him on that one. You know, that's just the fun of it, man.
Which apparently James Cameron has gone in and digitally put Arnold's face over all the very clear stuntman shots. On one of the most recent re-releases. Now, funny enough, we could not get my 4K player to work, which is just my Xbox. So if everyone that listens just wants to donate $1 to Nate, you know, you can Venmo me or PayPal me just $1. That way I can have a new 4K player.
No. He has a 4K player. He just didn't want to go to the other room and get it.
Fucking lazy to walk his sorry ass to his bedroom and bring it out to the
I will still take that $1. That way I don't have to walk to the other.
For 5 minutes, he dicks around with this DVD. He reloads, unloads, resets the Xbox, everything. Then he finally goes, well, what's it streaming on? And looks up for the stream. And then he looks at us and goes, I have a 4K player. It's in the other room, and I just don't want to go get it. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
You just wasted all this time. You could have just walked your happy ass in there.
I could have. And we could have watched the director's cut that way.
Right,
because
which we didn't
apparently
do.
God damn it, Nate!
only the theatrical cut is streaming right now, which I think
I
is
still haven't seen the
blasphemous.
director's cut.
Yeah,
It's
the-
it's
Thanks
16
for
minutes
robbing
longer.
me of the director's cut, Nate.
I'm
This is your
sorry.
Yeah,
No, you're not.
I do.
Thank
I
you,
do
Taylor.
really enjoy the director's cut. It's one of those rare ones that it doesn't just feel like they added nonsense just to say it was a director's cut. There's
Mhm.
like an entire segment that I absolutely adore with Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese when she's in the insane asylum dreaming about him. That it's so touching. It is just wow. It ties her better to the movie because it relates back to the first one, which was awesome. I love the fact that we watched the first one first, right before we watched the second one. That way, everything's like fresh. And
Fresh and
honestly, I
strange.
tell you, that's how you should do this from now
Yeah.
on. Like, if you're going to watch Terminator 2, plan enough time to watch Terminator first and roll right into the second one because it is an experience to just sit there and watch them both.
It's also just crazy to see how far the technology had came from the first to the second one.
Yeah.
The talents of James Cameron from 1 to 2, like just insanity alone
Well,
of what this dude
he
was
did have a
able to pull
lot
off.
more money, but
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's cut his teeth on a number of things.
But even
in between
back
those two
then,
films,
like-
and he's really wagging his big old James Cameron.
Yeah, his James Cameron is just flopping around.
James Cameron's camera.
I-
His little
Well, like-
cameraman, his little buddy
Yeah,
he brings around with him everywhere.
This movie it ballooned its budget. It went over budget. You know, I imagine
and
Hollywood
worth
was
it. They
freaking
made
out.
it all back.
Yeah, but I imagine back then, you're talking
yeah,
about this
freaking
kind of
out.
money being spent that was unheard of. And then, like, what if this doesn't make bank? But, like, this forever changed action movies. This
Totally.
changed the course of summer blockbuster and what can be done. That is
This-
still hard to achieve because we've had, 4 more Terminator movies since that have not been able to
Not even
capture
close. Not
the
even
magic
close.
of this one.
They're
Where
not paying
No.
it
attention to the
ends
writing
so
or the
well.
Story. They're more interested in the special effects and the monsters than they are in the writing. That's
Yeah.
That's-
And that's the
my-
problem.
Yeah. The failures of the other movies is writing. Like visually, they're awesome. Like there's
yeah.
awesome special effects in the later movies. I like the idea of the female Terminator
Oh,
in
yeah,
3.
I like the twist.
I mean,
but
you know,
writing's
it
terrible.
all works, but the story's garbage. It's
Every time.
just like every time. That's why one of my only takeaways is I do enjoy Salvation because they went a whole nother direction. I wanted to always see that battle,
We all
we
wanted to
all
see the
want
future war happen.
and that's
And
the best I got, and I'm still pissed that it stops at 1. That it was a planned trilogy, and I didn't get any more after that. And say what you want about Christian Bale during it. Yeah, he was an
it's
asshole.
not even that. It's
He's
the fact that
apologized.
you
but-
made a PG-13 Terminator movie to make money over telling a dramatic war story. Because at the heart of part 2, there is so much emotional investment
Oh God, yeah.
into all of these characters that it is a gut punch by the end of it all,
Mhm.
And that is something that the rest of the movies lack, is like the heart and soul that this movie has, that
Well, yeah. You know,
you care for.
real humans cry at the end of this, Nate, for some reason.
Now, or little dorks do that are for
Oh,
they're
man.
nerds.
You believe a machine has a heart by the end of this movie, man.
Well, as an adult, maybe.
Yes, an adult. Nate's like trying not to say that I cried too, but it's totally fine. I cried last week when I watched it again.
Yeah, I was like, get back in there, dear.
I thought it was weird that as soon as the movie ended, Pete, he kicked us out. He was like, okay, all right, everybody get out of the house.
Yeah.
Come on. And then he curled up in the corner in a ball.
Terminator. I love you,
He
Terminator.
left us. Oh,
Otherwise, you have to melt yourself down,
it had to
Terminator.
happen.
You had to save humanity, but then they still made Terminator 3, and I still went and saw it in theaters because I was like, that's so cool, they're making another Terminator. And then I left the theater going, that was all right.
That was bullshit.
I was like a teenager, early teens when I saw that in theaters. I went, oh, well, It was kind of cool to see Arnold back.
Welcome for a lifetime of disappointment, Nate.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still too young to fully understand that could be a thing. That they would squeeze just milk that cow dry, and just keep on milking. And the cow's been dead underground. They're still going to keep on milking.
still
God.
pumping that milk out.
Yeah.
But you're right. Going back to this kind of changed the trajectory of action movies. It changed the trajectory of Hollywood. Like this was when Arnold made the most amount of money at the time. Like they really had to pay him a lot. He didn't want to come back. Arnold is famously for, all about, I don't do sequels. It's why he didn't come back for Predator 2. It's why we never got sequels to some of his, we never got Commando 2.
Where's my Kindergarten Cop 2?
Right. The reason we got 2 Conans was because that was early in his career.
Mm-hmm.
He signed a contract. Hell, even the third one he had to fulfill his contract, he's not even Conan. He's whatever the dude's name is in Red Sonja.
Yeah.
I forget what his name was in that, but that fulfilled the contract. And after that, he's just like, I don't want to do it. So a lot of begging, a lot of, here's the script, here's the idea, and then a lot of money gave us Arnold.
That always helps.
Good Lord, no one was prepared for what this movie was.
The whole aesthetic with the leather jacket, the lever action shotgun, the motorcycle, that VHS cover, and always seeing a wall of them at the local store. It didn't matter what one. There was a wall. There were so many damn copies of this movie.
Yeah,
and it had that shine to it.
Poster too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the poster.
So you see this poster and you haven't seen or read anything about this movie. You're still thinking he's the bad guy.
Yeah, well, then that was the whole flip of the one trailer I played. Obviously, plays it up, but a lot of this was leading up to. You don't know Arnold's the good guy. It's like I still love this style of movie making, where even the whole beginning of the movie till he saves John, you don't know he's not there to kill him.
It really is, because you have the other one dressed up as a cop. He's looking for the boy.
Supposed to be good.
So,
Cops are good. They flip it on you, which I love. That was just great storytelling that, Arnold's the big Terminator. He's going to go after John Connor. Now they've sent another Terminator. Looks like a cop, does his thing, and then it flips, and Arnold is the hero.
Does it in such a beautiful way of the roses falling to the ground in slow-mo. And then you're like, oh shit, there's John Connor. What's he going to do? He's stuck between these 2 robots. And then the Arnold saying, get down. And then him shooting, and the way that T-1000 absorbs the bullets, and your mind is like forever blown, and movie making has now changed forever, because you're about to watch something just so special. And when you see these 2 robots, even though they look like men, they are robots fighting each other, slamming each other into the walls. The way they are just caving in. Oh, yes. And like the sound design of every bullet from that Beretta hitting into the back of Arnold. It's literally, it's perfection. That there's no other way to describe it other than this is like some of the most badass scenery of simplicity.
And I mean, just in that one scene, and this plays right in for Pete, when they kind of clash, it felt like a giant kaiju titan battle when they grab a hold of each other and start busting down walls and stuff. It felt like, Godzilla and whatever creatures out there tearing down Tokyo fighting. And it's just, I love everything about how they did this movie. And just, I remember watching it as a kid, and it's just this is an awe-inspiring movie. That's the best type of term I can give this. Is I was in awe watching. I'm still in awe when I watch it.
Yeah,
even though I know it
doesn't feel like 1991 like other movies do.
No,
Yeah.
Terminator felt of its time. It felt very early 80s, and a lot of that has to do with the special effects. And then you feel like light years passed when you start seeing what they did in 1991 with, yes, a large budget. You're just like, why was this not the norm from here on
It
out?
was
Like,
the
why
shit
why
that
wasn't everyone
expensive.
doing this?
ILM was
Yeah.
able to
Take a
pull
risk.
off. And like the only other movie that comes to my mind that kind of invokes that type of emotion for me is Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
just that larger than life kind of
Yeah,
feel,
because
something
the
that
same thing. Being a little kid in a theater watching Jurassic Park for the first time was like,
Dude,
oh
that was an
wow,
event.
I
like
was in the
dinosaurs are
middle of my
real.
college career, and my jaw was on the floor during Jurassic Park. That first
That movie
brontosaurus,
has
brachiosaurus. That's something called a wow factor that you don't see very often anymore.
I mean, the
It's-
last
it's
time
hard-
was when
it's really hard to wow the audience anymore.
when
I
Cap
think,
wielded Mjolnir. That's the last like big
Yeah.
wow moment. I think
that was
Mm,
in
that
theaters
was the
because I
last
mean,
the
literally,
high. Yeah.
my entire theater screamed, clapped,
Mhm.
shouted, like, and it was just such a like tear joke, like
Yep.
jerker moment of just like, wow, like movies can still evoke this kind of emotion to you.
Kathleen's
It's rare.
Yeah, Troy and Kathleen's daughter Millie. That is her wow moment. Troy's told this story before where
Nice.
they were watching it and she got up and screamed for joy when Cap pulled it up and like, yep, that's your wow moment, babe.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I had it with Jurassic Park and I had it with I don't know if I had the wow moment for Terminator, but
I
yeah,
did
that thing
when
that
he
just
comes up
took
the
your breath
conveyor
away.
belt with the last grenade.
Oh, that's
I
fucking cool,
remember
yeah.
that as a
Oh,
kid
it's so amazing. Yeah.
Mhm.
because this was one of my earliest action movies, I still didn't know the formula. I didn't know what to expect in action movies. So when I watched the T-1000 drive that piece of metal through Arnold
He's done.
into the
Right.
bottom, the lightning goes off, the light turns off in his eye. As a kid, I'm just like, he just killed
Oh,
the Terminator.
Yeah.
shit.
Like that's
Like,
it. How are they
whoa.
going to
That's it.
defeat him?
Yeah,
No.
and you get the whole big, shotgun. And I think I told you guys this. I don't know how many times Dad and I watched this movie. We still count how many shells Sarah loads in the shotgun and fires into the T-1000 before he just almost falls, but she runs out. We have counted that numerous times. It's just something fun we do now because we know she's not going to make that last shot.
Dude.
But you're just like, there's got to be one more. She just needs one more.
He's right there. Ah.
But that moment when the camera cuts and Arnold all torn up, just riding up that freaking slow conveyor belt with that grenade.
Half
the
an arm,
sound-
right?
he lost the arm. The arm was gone, but he was still walking because
Okay.
he stands
Oh,
at the end.
that's Terminator that he gets cut in half.
The
Never
first one
mind.
he gets cut in
Yeah.
half. But
Oh my
the
God.
sound that the grenade launcher makes, that tutoosh, and it just
Ah.
lands inside, the look of the
look.
T-1000, yes. And then that we were all saying it, the John Carpenter's thing moment
Mhm.
with the T-1000, the sounds it's making, it doesn't sound
Oh,
like
it's
a robot.
screaming.
It
Yeah.
sounds like a creature,
Yeah.
and then it
Yeah.
falls. And I just remember watching that moment just in this, like, this is the greatest thing in action movies ever. Why has Dad been keeping me away from this for so long? Come to find out, it's mainly about boobs for some reason. It was,
Were there boobs
Well, like-
in this?
no
Nope,
boobs in
not
this
in
one.
this
There's
one.
no
Alright.
only Arnold and Robert Patrick Butt. That's all
Yep.
you get in this one.
Hey, we're still right.
Some
in the height
solid
of
butts.
That's some solid
Yep.
butts.
But
Butts of
even,
steel and
like,
titanium.
before that scene, like when we get to watch the nitrogen freeze the T-1000, and
Oh my
all of us
God.
let
In
out
the
such
theater.
a big cheer when the one single bullet shatters him. All of us were losing our mind.
Oh, we were
'Cause
kids.
It's just so
we
gorgeous.
were kids. It was, if we were all in a theater, we'd have been, that's that moment that Stay Puft
Uh-huh.
Marshmallow Man shows up when you go rewatch Ghostbusters in the theater. Everyone cheers. You cheer when the T-1000 explodes into a million
Oh,
pieces.
I thought that
Oh,
was
this
it
would have been
in the theater.
popcorn getting spilt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, in the
that's
theater, man. I
exactly
thought
it.
that was it. Hey, they did it. They defeated him. And then you
Right,
see
it's
the
over.
sparks
They did
fall
it. And
behind.
then-
Yes.
Oh, it's gonna melt. I did like we were like, okay, what would we do again if we had to do this? You start shoveling it into the molten metal now at this point. Somebody grab me a bunch of shovels. Let's get him into the fire.
Quick,
and then I was like, what happens if he doesn't form back together? Do you get a bunch of teeny tiny T-1000s like Ash from Army of Darkness?
That's why you always gotta go for it, Pete.
I always wondered if so you make it's in a steel factory or something like that. So
yeah, it's like a foundry or something like that. Yeah,
the T-1000 gets melted into this, I don't know, pole or whatever it is. Does slowly over time he ooze out of that like maybe Christine did as she slowly formed back into a car? Would it sweat just tiny bits of T-1000 until he could reform?
See, we were talking about that night, and it really kind of made us thought. I think we've come to the consensus that whatever processor is controlling it probably melted.
That was the conclusion. Yeah.
But as far as the steel part of the T-1000, I'm sure it's in tons of railroads and cars.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what Elon used for the Cybertruck. You know,
in my head, it's much like Mount Doom. That's the fire that forged the ring. It's the fire that forges the steel. Right. So it's the only fire that can destroy the steel. And that's why, kids, you always throw bad things into Mount Doom. I think
that's right.
That's the moral of that story.
Or the burn barrel that I've spray painted Mount Doom on the side of. But.
Very cool.
All right, guys. Well, this has been going great, but we've kind of blown past our commercial time. So
I don't want to. I want to keep talking about Terminator 2.
We will. It's okay.
We're
not going to stop. Of course you do, Pete.
I got a weird question.
All right, we'll be right back.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
Are you in search of a refined and elevated podcast?
One where you can sit back with a cup of tea and indulge in the finest film cinema has to offer?
One where precision and polish comes before anything else?
Well, you've come to the wrong place.
We are Cinema Slab,
a podcast where we let our nerd flags fly and review our favorite movies and shows, new and old.
We're all besties.
And one brother and sister.
And we love discussing movies with each other. Whether it's a record-breaking television show that has us glued to our TVs every week.
We're like private investigators, except for no one hired us or asked for our help.
An ooey-gooey practical effects-filled horror movie.
Or a cult classic masterpiece.
You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
We're sure there's something for you on Cinema Slab.
I'm your Scream Queen, Anna.
Yeah, you're gonna love this one. It's a scream, baby.
I'm your Gorgal, Hannah.
I kick ass for the Lord.
And I'm your favorite little brother, Hunter.
I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this couch.
And join us each week on Cinema Slab
as we bond together over our love of cinema.
And all things media and entertainment related.
Terminator 2, a future warrior brought back to save our world. His mission, to destroy the evil T-1000. In his mobile assault vehicle, Terminator scours the streets for his deadly foe. Adios, amigo. It's the ultimate confrontation as power-armed Terminator faces certain death, only to return stronger and more powerful as Techno-Punch Terminator. Hasta la vista, baby. Terminator 2, I'll be back. He's traveled across time and space. Finally, he's here. The ultimate Terminator. He looks mean. He sounds mean. Hasta la vista, baby. And with the awesome hand blaster, he's a real mean machine. The ultimate Terminator for the ultimate Terminator adventure. I'll be back.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
So that last one, I'm now on a new mission. Because I had the action figures, but that last commercial was for what looked like a 10-inch tall Terminator that had buttons in the back, and he would talk, and his eyes would glow red, and he came with a minigun that they called a blaster for some reason. I don't know. But I was like, and like half of his face is missing, so it's half Terminator, half Arnold. He's in like the classic, leather stuff, and I was like, okay, I never saw or had that as a kid or anyone. I didn't know anyone that had that.
I don't remember that one at all.
I'm on a mission. It's like almost 10 inches tall.
So
and I was like, I want a giant Terminator now.
Yeah, fair warning. If you do a Google search on 10-inch Terminator, just don't do it at work.
We're not having another rabbit situation, are we, Pete?
Oh, something's going to get terminated tonight. That's for sure.
Is this running on batteries, or can I plug it into the wall?
Oh my God!
Oh,
okay, I got a question.
Judgment Day's a coming. Now, I did before recording. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to play Terminator 2, the game. It's terrible.
no.
It's really, really
It's
bad.
bad.
On the
It's bad.
Genesis.
None
I
of
did the
those-
side scroller one because after the movie we
Oh,
watched
okay.
the light
watched
gun
arcade.
one that had the
Yeah,
arcade where it was the
Yeah, that's
machine
not-
guns, which I had that physical copy back in the day, but I never got to play the side scroller one. And oh
Okay.
my God, it's horrendous. It's really, really bad. I don't recommend it, guys.
Fair.
In case in 2024 you're like, I can't wait to play 1991's classic
Yeah.
Terminator 2 game.
You're a special person for wanting
Don't.
to play that. But I do have a question. So, the T-1000 couldn't make a gun out of himself or a bazooka or anything like that. Couldn't
No.
create a projectile offensive weapon, blades and edges and stabby things.
Yeah.
Could the T-1000 have pulled off, let's say, his hand and shaped it into some sort of a throwing star or a ball with spikes and tossed it at someone and then let it melt and zip zap
Well,
zoop
that's
back into
something
his...
they explored in the last Terminator movie. Was he was
Oh?
able to like cut off his arm and let that turn into like a javelin, essentially, to throw.
Now,
I
Nate,
remember
are
that.
you talking
Yeah.
some sort of a fictional Terminator movie that doesn't exist?
That's a
I
fan
don't
film,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
exactly know
If
what you're talking about here. 'Cause
if I
there are
were to
only
talk
2
about,
Terminator movies, we've already covered that.
you're absolutely right.
Mhm, mhm.
So, I mean, I don't know whether they would program him to be able to do that to himself because he does do the hook, and Arnold shoots the shotgun at the arm, and it blows that piece off, and then John throws it off the car, and he walks.
Yes.
It's still metallic, but he walks up to it, and it reforms back into him. So there's some validity to what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I think possibly again, it's like how much more budget are we going to spend on how many
Right.
more cool
Well, sure.
weapons? But
It's just in theory. In
I
Terminator
think
theory.
because it can't make a projectile. I was going to say, well, why not just make like almost like a dart thrower? But there's no way
Yeah.
for him to make it.
Well, he would have to
Why
physically.
why couldn't he
throw it.
form a spring inside of
Mm.
his arm and launch like
Co-
mini javelins?
He did say
Well-
complex machinery is. They
It's a
can't do
spring.
that.
It's not complex.
That's pretty complex,
But
dude.
It's
It's a
it's
spring.
encased in a. It's complex enough. It's more complex than a blade.
One idea though,
Oh,
guns
yeah.
are just cooler. They go
mean,
bang.
Yeah, guns are cooler. And as Pete kept yelling during the movie, why do you keep shooting guns at the T-1000? It's not
Yeah.
working.
Jesus, that it's driving me crazy. I
It
get it. You're
slows
shooting
him
guns.
down.
Barely.
Well, the shotgun kind of gets him a little.
The shotgun was the best one. Like, seriously. The,
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the, the
And-
handgun, I will agree
Yeah,
with
it's
Pete.
pretty. You might as well throw the weapon.
Yeah.
Let
Just
him
throw the
absorb
weapon
it.
at him. Yep. But Robert Patrick is a fast dude. I mean, he could run. So
Oh,
I see
dude,
where you wouldn't be able to outrun him.
Yeah, not by foot. I mean, he was
No,
keeping
no,
up
not
with
by
that
foot.
car pretty good too
I
at a
think that
pretty
was
quick
legit
lick.
too.
I know like he did something as far as running. Like when he runs, he's like straight up looks like someone that runs professionally.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
like an actual person that does it.
Except the head that doesn't move and the eyes that stare forward.
That
It's
that
the
is a
creepiest goddamn
that
thing ever. It's awesome.
I swear I don't know if I saw this or not, but they were talking about that, and I think it was something James Cameron and him were working on was how do we make him intimidating because he's not bigger than Arnold. He's not as big as Arnold.
No.
And he's, very I don't want to say slender built. He's athletic built.
He's the athletic is a very good.
He looks like a swimmer.
He's a track
Yeah,
star, a swimmer versus a bodybuilder, but he was able to go toe to toe with Arnold, which means there's power behind.
There's
those.
power there, but back to just how do you make him intimidating? It's that emotionless face, and when he's running, his head doesn't move. It's just always on target, whatever he's running towards. It's just kind of, but even then, he's able to still carry that over when he's the helicopter pilot, which you still feel like that's just a dude that's out to kill everyone. It's very cold.
It's very much robot assassin.
Has a mission.
Yeah, on a mission.
Nothing is going to get in his way.
But I mean, that there was no, like he couldn't even use his eyes or his face, just like the lower part of his face. But it's all in his movement. How just as he scans with his head, back and forth. That whole helicopter sequence is amazing. We're all laughing that he's got 3 arms. It took like 3 times watching this movie when I was a kid before I saw that, small 19, 20-inch television watching it. You have no idea there's a third arm flying the helicopter. On Nate's giant flat screen in HD. Holy shit, look at that giant arm he's using flying the helicopter.
We did have a lot of fun making fun of this movie. Again, only with love in our hearts.
Total love in our heart.
The semi that falls from the bridge clearly broke that axle immediately when it
the axles were gone, the windshields were gone, and then the very next shot, it's totally fine, and the windshields are back because he has to knock the windshield out. And you're like, what? And I do say, I still stand by this. I know at the beginning, we don't know what the T-1000's power is. He's just chasing them at this point. I still think it would have been hilarious and awesome had when he went under that overpass and took the top of the truck up, that Robert Patrick poke his head back up and like half of his top of his head is gone. And you just see silver. I think it would be really cool. And because then you're like, what the hell was that? What did I see?
Reaches up and goes, whatever.
Something, or you just watch the hair reform. That first little instance of, okay, this isn't normal. Then you get, the whole thing
he's more
where he
than
can
a robot.
But the big reveal where he emerges from the fire as a complete, looks like Silver Surfer.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because then it's just like, whoa, what is this? And for the most part, that, CGI has stood up pretty well.
This CGI was better than the CGI from this latest Fantastic Four movie that did have the Silver Surfer in it. Blech.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. But I will, this was one of those things we're watching the first one and then watching the second one. I still say to this day, the first Terminator in the first movie walking out of the fire is by far one of the best scenes in cinematic history.
Oh yeah,
with that endoskeleton walking out and the reflections of everything on the
like
metal.
A freaking demon,
He does. Yeah. And they try so hard to recreate this, but when this came out before The Abyss, but this came out after.
This came out after this. So The Abyss is what allowed him
first. The Abyss.
Yeah.
So those of us that had seen The Abyss, you're kind of like, he kind of looks like the alien from that. Honestly, that's what he was kind of,
But that technology is what allowed him to, make the T-1000. Yeah.
But it just can't. Stan Winston is amazing, and I'm sure he had a hand in the T-1000. But how do you top your creation of the Terminator skeleton? I mean, that's just
it.
I don't think it's been topped since then. Like, it just looks badass. I
think as far as like robots go, it's still the most iconic, like in movies.
I truly, as far as robot goes, let's be honest, when we sit here and talk about iconic creatures, Stan Winston's usually attached to them. From the Predator. I think he had a hand in the Alien later on. It's just so it's like you're sitting there going, well, Stan Winston, Jurassic Park, he made the dinosaurs and shit like that. So you're talking about greatness. How do you top that even in the other sequels? You don't, man. the the T-101 is it. It is the best designed robot ever. Like, seriously.
You see that face, you know exactly what movie you're talking about.
I mean,
it's hard to not think Terminator when you see with it right there.
And then like,
yeah,
of course that's gonna make every like kid that's gonna be like, that's awesome. I want to know more about that. Buy me that comic book. Buy me that game. Like every little bit, you're eating it all up.
What everybody didn't see is I have like a little 3 or 4 inch Terminator skeleton head I keep in my office, and I mean it's iconic, man. Even and this isn't that highly detailed. It's probably like a $5 toy, but I just
exactly
keep
what
it
you're
back.
talking about.
You know exactly what it is. It's just completely badass, man. It's like, I'm pretty sure I'd say Liam has never seen any of the Terminator movies, but if I handed him one of my toys or this, he'd be like, oh, that's the Terminator. It's just ingrained in pop culture now that.
Yep.
And I think it's only because this was later in the 90s when they were starting to get away from the cartoons is why we didn't get a Terminator cartoon. It's like there's
Most
no reason
likely
we shouldn't have had
and
the Future Wars in a
the
cartoon
80s
version.
one. It makes sense because it's a horror movie, horror
Yeah,
sci-fi.
the
So they're
80s
not
one,
really gonna do that as a cartoon because I
you're
mean, as
not
far as they know, they're like,
selling.
well, that's done for. But even all right, so the Future War, the Future War that we get to see in the first movie, and how drastically different it looks from the second movie, just in terms of how much has advanced in the technology, is good Lord.
The miniature work, and they're both done with miniatures,
It's
which
miniatures,
is amazing.
it's prop work, like holy shit.
Yeah, but the future wasteland in the second film is so much more horrific.
Seeing all the human skulls just on the ground.
Yeah.
Never had a chance to be buried. They just rotted in decay.
They're just there, man. I mean, nobody's
They were
got a
probably
chance to
incinerated. The
a
flesh is
lot
probably
of
incinerated versus.
I think a lot of those were
rotted.
from the blast is where a lot of that is.
Speaking of the blast, let's talk about that.
Oh, the vision Sarah has.
The vision that she has to this day. I think like some scientist congratulated James Cameron for representing what a real nuclear blast would do. How it would happen. It's not stop, drop, and roll. It's not hide under your desk. It vaporizes everything in its path.
If there's one thing that Terminator 2 should do for all of humanity, is prove as to why we shouldn't use nuclear weapons.
Agreed.
Like, you just showed this and be like, oh, you know what? I don't want to do that to anyone.
We shouldn't use them again.
Honestly, what they should have done in Oppenheimer is just cut to the scene from Terminator 2.
Right at the end, bam, there it is. Yeah, it's not that I don't want to watch it. It's one of those I know I need to set a set amount of time to watch, and I need to be in the right headspace.
Yeah,
you really do, because when I left the theater, I went, well, the world kind of sucks, and I hate everything.
You did do that whenever you got out of there.
It like messed me up for 2 days. Oppenheimer really got underneath my skin, so...
Good.
Fantastic.
That means it did what it was supposed to.
Yeah, it evoked what it. Yeah, exactly. Like, to where you're just like,
it's
wow,
not this. It's not
humans
the same
can
when you
really
walked out
do
of Barbie.
bad things,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter what you try to do to right those bad things. It's just it's
Right.
bad.
People are going to take your good
I mean,
idea and make it bad.
You still felt bad when you walked out of Barbie, but just not quite as bad as when you walked out of
I still haven't seen Barbie, so if anything, I feel bad that I haven't seen Barbie yet.
I want to watch it. I just haven't. Yeah, I
You
need
should
to see
Barbie.
it.
It was a lot of fun.
It's supposed to be coming to HBO here soon, so wait for that.
It also has a strong message. So
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. Is it no nuclear war in Barbie land? Is that what we're not supposed to get?
Yeah, it turns out Barbie has like a whole scene where she is on the chain link fence and she's screaming, and then all the little children Barbies get blown away, and you're just like, oh God!
She would just melt though, being
Pretty sure I recreated that scene in the backyard at least once or
I
twice.
believe that. I think I did too.
Nerf a super soaker with gasoline makes a pretty good flamethrower.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I wasn't allowed
Don't
to
try
do
that. Don't try. I was allowed. No, I
Well,
wasn't allowed to do
you know,
that. but I
didn't have-
did it.
You best not touch the gas can, boy.
We didn't.
You know,
Super Soakers weren't around when I was a kid. How about that? How about that for how
I had
old I
that
am?
good classic one with the big ball at the back end with the green tube. coming
Oh,
out like-
that's the perfect.
the one
Super
that came
Soaker.
back, the one that's back out now. Yeah. If you put gas in it and shoot it at the fire barrel,
Yep,
it
that'll
makes
do
a
it.
pretty good flamethrower.
Did it come back at you?
No, thankfully, which
Oh,
it
okay.
probably could
Yeah,
have.
if anything, you're pretty lucky it didn't happen.
Well, it's because the Super Soaker, it just loses the pressure. It's not like it draws it back up in the gun. And I wasn't like right up on the fire when I did it. I was standing back like 10, those Super Soakers famously shoot like 50 feet.
True.
So you shoot across the top of the fire barrel, gas goes to it, and then fire flies out the other end. Yeah, kids don't do that.
So
It's
you're not allowed to watch violent movies, but you can fill up your Super Soaker with gasoline.
There was probably a reason I wasn't allowed to watch
Very-
violent movies.
Very strange dynamic in your young household, Charlie.
I'm Gen X, man. We were left alone.
Gen X! Latchkey
We
kids.
came up with our own ways to keep ourselves occupied
Yep.
till mom and dad got home from work. That sometimes involved gasoline.
Now I'm just Googling how can I get a Super Soaker.
Go to Amazon and buy a Super
Yeah.
Soaker, you ding
Amazon's
dong.
got them. I told you the exact one I had is still for
Super
sale.
Soaker.
Right
Walk
now.
over to Target and get one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these all like look super fancy in Fortnite. That's not what I want.
No. You need.
Yeah,
the
I want the classic Super Soaker.
I forget what the designation is.
Yeah,
for it,
like
but
this
it's
one literally
available.
says Fortnite on the side of it. I don't want that.
No, you don't.
Ooh, this one looks like a minigun. Arnold uses a minigun in this movie.
Oh man, we have gone way off the rails. I know we're talking about Super Soakers.
Now that
and
Nate
stuff.
is shopping for himself for Christmas because no one else will buy him a Christmas present.
Now, if everyone
Well,
wants to send me $1 to
No.
get a Super Soaker and a 4K player, why won't you let everyone send me $1?
Why are you getting $1 before me?
Nate, I'll give
You
you a
didn't
dollar.
ask.
Right, exactly.
I asked,
Charlie's
yeah.
invested more money. in
You
this.
still owe me $8.
I don't want to talk about it.
Do I
Can
owe
we
you
just
$8?
move on to the minigun scene and how cool it was?
Yeah. Well, we can do that right after we talk about how when Arnold fillets his own arm
Oh,
to show
man.
Dyson the robot arm underneath the skin.
No shit, I'm a robot. Zip, zap, zoop, and pulls his
That's-
Zap zoop.
that
Zip,
that
zap, zoop.
switchblade just slicing through skin, and the way he does it, just that one slice, and then just peels it off. But man, that shot where he's just holding it up there, and the camera just slightly
It's
kind of goes around it.
Beautiful.
It is
It's an
gorgeous
armature, right?
shot.
All
I mean,
credit
yeah.
to Joe
Stanley
Morton,
Weston.
who plays
Oh.
Miles Dyson, and just
Oh.
his reaction of just, oh my God! Like, like.
Well, it's the oh my God, and then the realization of what he's looking at.
Yeah,
Like,
because
oh,
it's like that's the
shit.
I've
arm that
seen
we
that
have
before.
at work.
Mm,
Oh
Right.
God, this is all
exactly
real.
what it is.
And it really was. So yeah, they go on the mission to, to stop the future from happening. They have to stop, what becomes Skynet. I forget what he actually works for, but the company that
C-Tech
eventually
Astronomy.
creates it.
I just
Yeah.
assumed it was
And if
Dyson.
you get that reference, kids, drop me a line.
It might be Dyson, something like that.
Yeah,
No,
I
but
mean, I
it was
figure that's
Miles
what they make
Dyson.
those vacuums. Yeah, exactly.
It's super vacuums. No, that's not Terminator technology.
Well,
Not-
they suck very good, from my understanding.
No, if there's a vacuum that's going to take over the world, it's going to be
Pete's
the
always
Roomba.
cleaning his room.
Yeah, it's the Roomba though. The Roomba's going to take over the world. That's what it's
DJ
gonna
Roomba.
Nah, I'm cool with my Roomba. See, when I have my Roomba on, I am also manually sweeping to show it that we are alike and are friends and in this
It's like,
together.
bitch, get out of my way. I got a job to do. Oh, man.
My Roomba's actually playing Ludacris Move Bitch the whole time.
Move, bitch, get out the way.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Roomba.
Comes out one day with C4 strapped to the top of its head. It's like, get out the way now.
No, what it does is it's got a handle going, I don't know how much longer I can hold it.
Yeah, this guy plays somebody almost dying in a movie really well because he did that in Executive Decision
his
as well.
Entire career is him almost dying.
That's his MO. Although he gets a hero moment. Is it a hero moment? Because he stops Skynet, but he kills innocent cops. The cops aren't the bad guys.
I don't know. They tried to stop the Terminator. That feels like a bad guy thing. If the cops would have won, Judgment Day happens.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those, does one bad outweigh the good you're doing? You know?
Well, okay, so a room full of people or the world?
Well, I mean, do you know any of those people?
One of those people could have been a future Hitler.
Is that well? That's what we're always going to default to.
I think so.
He could have.
That kind of works with the nuclear explosion too. I bet there was at least a dozen Hitlers that we took out.
We took out a dozen Hitlers, 70,000 serial killers.
So which is better, Nate?
Do we take out one things?
Do we take out one Hitler or a dozen Hitlers?
Okay.
Now, which way sounds better?
Okay, Nate, Thanos, just snap your finger and see how.
Hey, Thanos was kind of
out.
right at times.
Sadly, yes.
That's how you write
Can't
a really good
argue
villain.
the logic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you
I
know.
mean, Cap could see the whales, which was, a positive because there wasn't as many people around anymore. Remember, he went
what?
in
No.
Endgame.
I-
He went and
yeah, San
walked
Francisco
around the
Bay.
coast. Yep,
He saw the whales.
That was
because there was
a 3-hour movie. I don't remember all that shit.
I thought he was talking about Star Trek Voyage Home. I saw the whales.
I'm not a Star Trek guy, so you can't do that.
Pete got that joke though, so that
Yeah,
worked
yeah.
just fine.
I am a Star Trek guy. Nate, you're wrong. Be a Star Trek guy.
No,
Yes.
All right.
it's too late.
Ah.
Minigun of mini boo-boos, as we said the other night.
It's not even like it's before the minigun where he's like, "I'll be back," and he goes and clears out. I don't know why I did a Stallone for "I'll be back."
I have
but-
no idea why. Well, it's because
I can't
Stallone
do
played
it,
the
Arnold.
Terminator.
Yeah,
Stallone
in the
played the
other
Terminator
universe.
2 in Last Action Hero. It was his best role. It was amazing in this movie.
I'm lost.
It's him going through and
You've seen
shooting
Last
every
Action
cop.
Hero, right?
What?
You've seen Last Action Hero, right?
Oh yeah, just
He
recently.
goes into the video store and there's a cardboard cutout
yeah.
of Terminator 2 with Stallone's face on it.
Yeah.
And
okay,
Arnold's
yeah.
like, "What are you talking
right.
about? This was his greatest movie. He did so good."
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
But it's Arnold walking through shooting all those cops in the kneecaps. Like so many people get shot in the kneecap in this movie.
That's why it's a lot of boo-boos.
But then that's when he gets the minigun out. And it's a good thing he's a robot, because if not, he would have accidentally killed all of them.
Well, that's the whole point. He's blowing up the cars. You know, he's like, "I'm just causing a really big, I'm buying time."
Casualties 0 points.
Yeah.
How can
It
you
should have
doing
been like
what Die Hard did.
0.001 or something like that. Where it's
Yeah.
like, "I'm not 100% sure if I didn't kill that guy." So 0.001.
Two of those cops might have had a heart attack and died right
That's
there.
the other thing. Like, is it really his fault if the cops have a heart attack?
Yeah,
Because
like they just fall over.
Yeah, they just fall.
Aw.
They're like the fainting goats. Just
Take it from a guy who's had 2 knee surgeries. I felt every one of those shots to a knee, and it traumatized me. It was horrible. I go,
Look, I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt. That's probably the one place to not die. It's the one place I don't want to get shot. Yeah.
Pete, you wouldn't need your knees to be fixed if you'd quit being on them.
What are you talking about?
Nate.
All right, wait.
For that joke.
Wait, I got another one. Pete, you wouldn't need your knees fixed if you quit getting drunk and falling down.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair.
I'm not making those sound better. I want everyone else to experience the pain we just went through right there.
Yeah, Nate's going to be here all week, folks.
Yeah,
Tip your bar,
I'll be at
tip your
the forum
waitresses.
all week.
The veal is great.
All 2024. It's totally fine. It's a damn minigun. Oh god.
Nate needs to take a vacation. Let's get Troy
I
back
do.
on here.
I keep asking for one. You won't let me.
No, because I won't let Pete take one. I can't let you
I
take
took one. I went to New Orleans, bitches.
Yeah, but we recorded ahead of time, so it
that's
doesn't
true, yeah,
count.
we took care of all that.
If I'm here for every episode, you guys have to be here for every episode now.
I guess.
Was there a Terminator versus Batman comic book?
No. Predator versus Batman.
Predator versus Batman.
Yeah,
Alien
I have
versus
those.
Batman.
Judge
Alien
Dredd
versus
and Batman.
Superman. Judge Dredd and Batman, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really? I don't remember that
Yeah.
one.
Yep. Judge Dredd and Batman.
No, Terminator was RoboCop.
RoboCop.
And all by himself. I don't think he did any. This is just going from memory. Maybe
I don't think there was any other crossovers.
Maybe so.
with-
Nate, don't look it up. I see you looking it up.
I don't know what are you talking about.
Just type Dark Horse Terminator comics. And...
I typed in Terminator versus, and yeah, RoboCop seems to be the only thing showing up.
All right.
Yeah, which I do remember that game because it had the hard shell for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the comic book series and everything.
He's also in Mortal Kombat 11, so that's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, he is, where you can just beat up everyone.
Yeah. It also has RoboCop in it too, so you
It
can
does,
redo
yeah.
Terminator versus RoboCop. It's just kind of fun.
Sexy.
All right, where else you want to go? Because we've kind of talked about the T-1000 falling in earlier, but do we just get into the stuff and just keep going with the normal conversation?
Stuff. I think we got more to say, but let's get into this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have more to say.
Okay.
It's
all
fucking
right.
Terminator 2. There's so much to say.
Yeah.
4-hour episode. Let's not do that.
Leave anything for us?
Just bodies. Body count. Body count. Body count. Body count.
Pete goes, it's fucking Terminator 2, and all I can think of is him and like, it's the fucking Catalina wine mixer, except it's Pete going,
Yeah.
it's fucking Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
It's Judgment Day, bitches.
Just immediately where my brain was like, I'm gonna have to clip that or something. It's just
Good
awesome.
brain.
Just Pete randomly just going, it's fucking Terminator 2.
It's gonna have
Like-
a surprisingly low body count, I feel, just because
No one
how
actually
many
dies.
people that Arnold is not allowed to kill because Edward
Yeah.
Furlong wouldn't let him.
So
bitch.
this
Talk
this
about
one
a
was
little bitch.
difficult because some people wanted to count everyone that died during the like apocalypse explosion, and I was like,
Nope.
okay, then we're in the billions. No, we don't count that. Somebody counted the people that died in the photographs from Terminator 1 while they were in the while she's in the insane asylum. I'm like,
No.
why would you
Nope.
even think that? So after doing my count on what I actually allow, we got 20
Okay.
people die
That's
in
still-
Terminator 2.
Which is extremely impressive,
It's
but
low, but
There's probably
it's-
about 100 boo-boos,
yeah.
but 20
Right.
people died.
Right.
It just hit me too. One of the things that we have not talked about at all, and I feel shameful for this at this point, is
should be
how
shameful.
amazing Linda Hamilton is in this movie.
Oh God,
We
yeah.
haven't even talked about
We
Linda
haven't
Hamilton. What
even
is wrong with
talked
us?
about the powerful acting she does in the asylum.
Yeah.
Where she is trying to trick them,
Oh,
where she asks the one doctor, how's that knee?
Mhm.
And telling everyone they're going to need a lot of sunblock.
Yeah, about
And-
2 million sunblock.
The reveal of when she finally sees Arnold's T-800 and the way that she falls
panic.
back and the way, yeah, like she sells that so well.
She's like, I'm in her face. You can see, like, I'm done. This is it.
Pure
yeah.
fear.
I did everything I could, and I still can't get away from this son of a bitch.
And he's
Yeah.
got my son.
Yeah, and he's got my son.
Yeah.
Well,
I
no, I
failed.
don't. She didn't see
She
her
didn't
son
see
right away.
she didn't see the sun right
'Cause
away. He
it's-
comes
That's
running
true.
from behind.
It was John. It was John who came over and said, "Mom, it's okay. He's on our side."
But she's still in like shock mode
She
when
is
that's happening
absolutely,
right there.
and should be. I mean, she just saw the Reaper.
Yeah,
enter-
she saw who tried to kill her
Mhm.
over and over again, who killed Kyle, who did everything that she had to crush in a crusher.
And
you know,
she
it's just-
still doesn't trust him because she's dealing with
She's
all that trauma.
still-
She
from the
doesn't trust
first
him till
one.
the very end.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I was watching I didn't see it all, but I was watching the commentary with James Cameron and somebody else I don't remember. The only way Linda Hamilton would come back is if she could play a crazy person.
Oh,
okay. She wanted to play this character that she became, and so she got ultra fit and was put in the asylum.
It is
played crazy.
Pretty amazing too.
Just amazing.
Seeing how part 1 ended with her driving off into the sunset, she's pregnant, and just kind of like, well, we're gonna figure out what our next chapter is,
right?
And then to fast forward all these years for part 2, and she is kind of turned into,
she's Burt Gummer,
not a prepper.
She's
in a way.
Right. She's damn right. She's Burt Gummer.
Yeah,
she's a Burt Gummer.
Definitely.
She's preparing John, and I like how they explain it through John. Like John's telling the Terminator about everything they went through. And look, I'm going to say, I know a lot of people's big hang up with this movie is Edward Furlong. He was a kid, and he plays a kid perfectly in this. He does everything you expect that age of a kid. This was one of his first.
His very first. This was it.
Yeah.
And like, he played a rebellious kid, and
he played exactly what he was. And I think he does a great job.
If you have
unfortunately, it affects him. Yeah.
You should have a problem with what Edward Furlong became because he never outgrew this character.
No. And if you want the backstory on that, go check out our brain scan episode because
exactly.
I do dig into kind of what fucks him up later in life.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
I didn't mean I just meant
no. I know what you meant. I was just saying instead of rehashing
not saying anything against the man at all whatsoever.
No, I actually like Edward Furlong in this movie.
No, I think
love
he
Linda
was
Hamilton in this
an excellent
movie.
choice for it. It's just like Linda Hamilton and the character of Sarah Connor, and having it to where she didn't really keep it on the low key. She was very vocal. I mean, she loses custody of John, and even John explained it to his friend. He's like, "Nah, my mom really isn't that cool. Like, she tried to break into a military base and
she tried to blow up a military base. That's how they caught her.
Like,
she's
so like
she knows the world's going to end. So
some
she's
point,
on a mission.
From the end of part 1 is where she must have just dealt with like, I have to stop this. This is now my calling. That way, it doesn't get to the war.
Child into the world, and she doesn't want that child to face the horrors of what is definitely
exactly what Pete said. Is what I was getting ready to say.
Everything in her power to, and what even Edward John Connor was saying. Yeah, mom skipped from boyfriend to boyfriend, learning all she could,
just whatever she could learn.
Right,
because she's fighting this on two fronts. Yeah. If she can stop it somehow on her own, she saves John from a horrible future. But she also has to prepare John for what could possibly be the inevitable of fighting this war. So she sells it. She absolutely sells it.
She's the ultimate mom, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, she is protecting her baby at all costs, and
she is a straight up mama bear. I mean, in this one,
even with the way that she's like, "Do I even tell you about your father?" Because would that make it to where future you, if this were to happen, this war, if you knew that Kyle was your dad, would you still send him back? Because that could possibly mess with the timeline to where you're never born, and now you don't get to lead.
Not get too worked up with this timeline because the time travel here, they're playing loosey goosey with time travel.
Look, it's not as accurate as Hot Tub Time Machine. Okay, we understand that, Pete.
We get that, Pete. You have to have a hot tub and Russian energy drinks.
Yeah. I think Seagal can get us those, so it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're all over the place, but there's just so much with this movie.
Well, honestly, I would have felt horrible going back to the episode and be like,
Nate,
we didn't talk about Sarah Connor, who is like the reason why everything else has sucked so badly. Yes. And then when they bring her back, they just brought her back far too late for that one fan film.
Yeah, that's one of my big, I don't like Dark Fate. Like, I fixed Dark Fate. I have a fix for it. I wish.
Sadly, Dark Fate is like the better one of everything, but it's still not that good. Like,
it is.
It just isn't.
All right, screw it. You know what? We got 5 minutes. I'll tell you how you fix Dark Fate.
Oh,
you leave everything just like it is. What you eliminate is them finding the Terminator Arnold living a life. That was stupid. He's not a family man. He's not in hiding. What you make it out is Sarah is the one that has figured out like where all these things are happening. You know, the she's always there. I haven't watched the movie in a while, but she's getting messages and she knows where to go for the next like time variance that happens. So she meets up with the protector of, it's a girl in this one, right? That is, so again, it's been a while, but this is how I fix it. And it's the only part that I care to even remember. Instead of going and getting Arnold, the guy that killed her son, and now he's a family dude, the Sarah collects the girl and the protector. They still do the hotel scene. They go, we have to do something. We're up against something we can't stop. And Sarah looks at them and goes, all right, then we're going to do something I never thought I was going to have to go do. They follow her to one of her weapon lockers, just like we see in Terminator 2. And she walks over, she turns on a light. In the far corner is this thing covered up with a tarp. And she walks over and she rips it off, and there's the fucking Terminator. She found him, she deactivated him, but she's been using the tech that is implanted in him to get these signals to figure out all the time variances. And she reprograms it and brings it back online. The thing that killed her son, the thing she watched kill her son, she has had the entire time. And she uses it as a weapon for the rest of the movie.
I guess
this
is stupidity on my part. I didn't realize then that the Terminator that killed John Connor in Dark Fate is the one they team up with later on.
That's the one they team.
I didn't realize that.
He kills him at the
so mission accomplished, and now he's got nothing else to do. I'll just be like, well, I guess I'll just get a job and become a carpenter
because he
what
cannot
self-terminate.
Talking
about, Nate? I didn't even know. There's only 2 Terminator movies.
Pete is right. Pete's right. There's only 2.
That's how you fix the fan film.
If you ever wanted to make a Terminator 3, is where you just make the war, but you give it to where the war is an actual war, and there's heart and humanity with it, and there are stakes, because there are stakes in this movie, and you feel them at all times, and you really do wonder, is our heroes going to accomplish this, because this villain seems completely unstoppable.
Well, that's what you do with the war. Obviously, everything we've done hasn't worked. The future is inevitable. Instead of, we make, there's no fate but what we make. Now it is, the future is inevitable. So now how do we deal with the robot uprising?
And I think the best way to do it, you would have to storyboard all 3 movies, get a team together, and have like the same director for all 3 or something like that. You would have to do like what the original Star Wars trilogy was, where it's like, I have it mapped out, and
here's your beginning, middle, end.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where the Disney ones kind of screwed up, was because they didn't have a beginning, middle, end. It was, we'll let this director do this, we'll let this director do that, and oh my god, now we got to bring back the other director because everyone's mad at us now. Like, if you're going to do a trilogy that you plan on doing, because most of these movies never intended to do a second one,
right,
back in the day. So you have to have a way to just go, all right, if we are going to do a trilogy from the get-go, you do like Lord of the Rings, where it's like, here's the entire story. We already have it laid out, and we make everything all at once,
I agree. I 100% agree. All right, boys, let's get back on track.
Yes.
So we've done body count for those that may have forgotten, because we jumped right back into talking about the movie. 20,
we had to.
20 people died. It's fine. It's Terminator 2, beginning of the year. It'll be fine. Now we got to pick our favorite kill.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Hell.
Yeah, but they were all bad.
I'm going to cop out on this one.
Oh?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go for
it's the T-1000. It's that grenade from Arnold launching into its chest.
You know what? I'm going to
Exploding.
join you, buddy, because that just feels like the right one.
It falls into the the molten metal, and you see all of the people that it replicated and killed in the movie, and then just that amazing, it turns into a lifeless form that still has like arms and a face, and just it's like it's in agony, but it's just its programming getting destroyed. And I love it. I love the end of this movie with that kill. So, Pete, what about you, buddy? What's yours?
I loved the gore when he was pulling his eyeball out. That was super gross, but that's not a kill. I also liked
Who pulled out an eyeball?
Arnold did.
That's in the first one.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, this is why you don't watch these two damn movies back. Anywho,
we were doing so good, Pete.
We were. When Vasquez puts a knife in her husband's,
that was pretty cool.
That is a great one.
If it was on screen, that would have been it. But it was off screen.
It was off screen, but man, to hear that sound, that
pretty
thunk,
much.
and then when it pans over, you're imagining that thing going through his head. You're just like, oh,
and now
my
you
God.
know, it's like, oh, it can make a knife hand. It can do that.
Yeah, so
it can judo.
So that was going to be it if it was on screen, but no, it's the T-1000 dying at the end, fellas. We got to try to here. That is the way he screams, and that, like you said earlier, Charlie, he doesn't sound like a robot. He sounds like a creature, a monster of some sort.
Yeah,
and it's harrowing. It's scary to a degree.
It looks like hell.
Oh yeah, it does look like hell. Like
it looks like hell.
Demons are being melted away, and
its head's upside down with its mouth like agape.
It turns inside out too. Like the mouth opens and the insides are coming out of its mouth, and then it reforms the head again. And it's just, again, as a kid, 12 years old, watching this, you're just like, holy crap! What is this? This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I loved robot movies growing up as a kid. I watched Robot Jocks, and if it had a robot in it, man, I'm watching it. And then I get to see
Turbo Kid.
The damn near, well, Turbo Kid's a lot later. But this movie is
Apple. She's adorable.
Damn near perfection for 1991. Like, we haven't topped this movie. I don't care what anybody says. There's awesome movies, and there's movies that I will watch equally, but is there really a movie that's ever truly topped Terminator 2?
It's really hard to say a movie that's done for the blockbuster genre what this did.
You can have better acted movies, you can have Oscar-worthy movies, you can have all of this, but for everything that this movie represents, this is still top-tier stuff.
It's still like, it's a fantastic story.
It is.
Like,
it all comes down to a good story.
People always argue like, oh, action movies don't need story. It's like, Terminator 2 proves you wrong. Like, you can have a very deep emotional story and very badass action all at once.
Yep. Everybody's got to be committed. Well, that segues us right into this. So. So let's go, Pete.
Yeah.
Pete, what are you rating
this
Terminator 2 Judgment Day?
This is when you look in the dictionary under the word movie, this is what you find. This is a fucking movie. This is what movies strive to be. This is a 10.
It's the fucking Catalina Terminator 2 wine mixer, baby.
Judgment Day.
Why? This is what movies want to be. This is a movie. There are more artful movies. There are more beautiful movies. There are movies that are better acted. There are movies that have better special effects. I don't care. This is the movie, the moviest of movies ever movied.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nate, what about you, Bubba?
I already said on another episode, it's a 10.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah. Like, from the get-go, I was spoiled right out the gate. Hey, reminder, this is a 10, everyone. Yeah, it's just such a spectacle, and when you rewatch it, it's amazing how many set pieces there are.
Oh God, dude.
This isn't a giant action scene in the beginning, giant action scene in the end. It's throughout.
It's
but
nonstop.
It does not lose its pace. It does not lose its character development. It just
And the only time it slows down is to actually add things to the story.
Yeah.
It's the only time it slows down.
And it works.
It doesn't waste that time either, boring you with adding to the story.
You can say whatever you want about modern James Cameron. Like, the dude just doesn't miss. Like, I haven't seen the new Avatar yet because I haven't taken the 3.5 hours.
I don't have the time to watch it right now.
But I mean, that first Avatar was pretty jaw dropping in IMAX in 3D. Like,
that was pretty, and it had nothing behind it.
But it was definitely like the man did something with technology that we had not seen before.
Agreed.
That only he can do. Like, he invented a new world for us all to go to. And like, yeah, I'll watch Avatar 2 and 3 eventually, but there is something to say about a man who loves movies so much that invents more technology that then other filmmakers go, ooh, I want a piece of that pie. Please, Mr. Cameron, teach us your ways. Like,
please, Mr. Cameron, some more, please.
Yes,
more.
please, Mr. Cameron. I'm so hungry. He's an innovator. That's what he does. So, if anything, I want James Cameron, before he gets into more Avatar, even though that's what he's doing for the next 15 years, give us another movie like this or True Lies. Like, give us a straight, just give us a straight up action movie. Because I'm just curious to see what that would look like in 2024.
Yep.
So, Charlie.
I'd be foolish to be anything but a 10. This is the tippy top of the mountain for action movies, boys. Like, I have my favorite action movie, which is Demolition Man, but Terminator 2 is better. Honestly, I mean, overall, Demolition Man just has to be my favorite, and it's a 10. But Terminator 2 is also a 10. You know, it set the bar, and it's a bar that some have grazed, some have touched, but I still say none have surpassed. It's one I watch on the regular. Again, I think this is a perfect entry point that if you're trying to get your kids involved in watching action movies with you, like my dad did, and, you know, you have your good classics like Delta Force, but even I can admit now, most kids nowadays probably wouldn't be all that intrigued by Delta Force, but by God, you put Terminator 2 on, that kid's not going to be staring at their phone. That kid's going to be like, what am I watching? What is that? Holy Dad, what is that? And you just enjoy the ride, kid. Just enjoy the ride. You're going to love it all the way up till the end.
It is funny because, like, when you talk about like introducing kids to movies and stuff, it's usually like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters. But it's like, nah, like Terminator 2 is like right
Terminator
up there
2 is
with
right
being
up
able
there.
to. Yeah.
The other thing about Terminator 2 is you're talking about Delta Force, your Rambos, whatever. Those are people killing people. These are robots. These are fictional things killing people or having violence against people. So when a child watches this, they're not going to go, oh, it's okay for,
right. Because you have a child telling the
Yeah.
robot it's not right to kill.
Exactly.
Which is a whole nother like psychological level to this when you're a kid.
It's enough of a fantasy where it's a robot being the good and the bad guy that you're not going to hopefully embed any of that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Violence.
No. Even with the opening scene of Arnold, it's like he just wants that guy's jacket, boots, and motorcycle. He's not trying to kill anyone. Like,
he doesn't do like he did in the first one when he kills most of the punks, with Bill Paxton.
Yeah,
and them.
he rips a man's heart out.
Yeah, this is
pretty cool.
Very cool.
I need
very cool.
clothes, and then you go back and you watch it again and you realize, the whole thing is the T-1000's killing everyone he contacts. So he kills that cop, even though it looks like he like knocks the wind out of him, the first one. No, you go back and watch it again, and you're like, oh, he stabbed that cop because he makes knife hands. It's high rewatchability. I adore this movie. I really do. It's part of my lexicon with one-liner who doesn't say "Hasta la vista, baby," who doesn't, say "I'll be back," and just Guns N' Roses is ingrained in action movies because of Terminator 2 and Last Action Hero and movies
Dirt
like
bikes
that.
are like
Dirt
I wanted a
bikes,
dirt bike as
man.
a kid. Wasn't allowed, but wanted one.
Afterburner is in this movie, gentlemen. My favorite arcade game of all
very
time.
cool arcade
the sit-down
in general.
version. I have
Yeah,
never
the
played
sit down.
I have never played the
It
sit-down.
Never got to.
moves like you're in a cockpit, so it's one of those first ones that would move around. I adore Afterburner, and it is in this movie, man. I love it to death. All right, God, man, I don't know. Do you want to do trash opinion, Nate?
No, we're not going to. I was amazed. There are quite a bit of bad reviews, which kind of shocked me.
I got no time for these people.
But
Just,
they don't
skip
get
it.
it in the new year.
Please skip it.
So instead of trash opinion, Nate, you had homework for us.
Oh, yeah.
I did, because a reflection back on 2023. I wanted to say thank you to everyone that has given us a listen, because it's been truly 2023 was our biggest year. It was very humbling.
Wow, it really was.
It just month after month, it was like, oh, we are not slowing down, and we keep growing in listenership. So thank you so damn much. Because we're a movie podcast too, I want to reflect on what was, everyone's favorite movie of the last year that they saw. In my head, this is what came out in 2023. But if you're having difficulty, what you watched in general.
No, I found one.
But I like the idea of 2023.
Yeah.
So does anyone want to go first?
I mean, I'll go ahead and go first, because again, I forgot we had homework till we started recording, and I was like scrolling through movies that came out in 2023, and I was just like, movies suck this year overall.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked at the list, I guess.
Yeah, there's a few I still haven't watched the new Mission Impossible, but I don't know if I would count that one even if I had seen it, because it's a part 1, and
Fair.
I need to see my part 2. But there one did pop up that I went, oh shit, that's right, that did come out this year. I'm giving it to Sisu. I absolutely
That's a damn good movie.
adore that movie.
Sisu's really good.
It's really good. Now, the year before was awesome for action, because we had Maverick, and we had Bullet Train, and we had Violent Night.
This was
and
still
all
a solid year. Extraction 2, John Wick 4.
John Wick 4 was good. We talk about it over at the Action Elite. We did our breakdown of the John Wick movies, and I think we all had a pretty concise consensus on where we've put them. They're getting overly long, and I think that's where I let Sisu edge out, because it's a perfectly timed.
It's more replayability.
It is. It's an old story, but damn, it felt like something really cool and new to watch. And I highly recommend, if you guys haven't seen Sisu, which I wouldn't bash anyone that hasn't seen it, because it got a stupid limited release, kind of like Silent Night. Why aren't movies doing good? Put them in the fucking theaters. Okay. I shouldn't have to drive over an hour to go watch a movie I want to see. They should be full releases. Okay. Give it the chance to make the money, and then we'll see. But yeah, Sisu was the victim of that, and I watched it after the fact when it came out on digital. But my God, I loved it.
Yeah,
so that's
I regret not seeing it in theater.
Same. I wish I had traveled to go see it. Plus, I think it was only out for like 2 weeks or something like that.
It was not out for very long.
Yeah, like it kind of came and went, and like I didn't have enough time to catch
I got
up.
it from the library, so I have seen it. It was.
I'm gonna wait for Pete's
really
answer, but
enjoyed
I have an amendment to all of this. I want to make sure we get out there, but I'm gonna wait till after Pete says his.
What's your favorite movie of 2023, Pete?
That latest. Well, if we're going with release
movies,
I've seen right around 200 movies this year as of this date. And not all of them clearly are 2023 releases.
Right.
So if we're just going to stick with 2023, Sisu was very good. I really like that last Spider-Man movie. The second
Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes,
That's a
really enjoyed
masterpiece.
it.
It really is.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film. But I'm not kidding. The best movie of 2023. It's a movie first, and it just happens to have Godzilla in it.
I knew
Godzilla -1 is a.
I haven't watched it yet, and that's why I was waiting for Pete.
You better go quick because it's leaving theaters.
I have a feeling that they're
week.
going to extend it because it's breaking records. I have a feeling.
I still say, and this is since it's coming out in January. We're recording this the first week of December, and it's supposed to leave Thursday, the U.S. theaters, and that's all Toho's doing.
Yeah, Toho's very weird about that, Nate.
They're
I would
very
not
weird
bet on
about
this
that.
So, well, I
Do
can't
not wait.
I would not be able to see it until this weekend. So
You had an opportunity to see it with me
hoping
twice.
GalaxyCon busy.
Barry Bostwick.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is.
I want to see it in theaters.
I want to stress that this is a really good movie that happens to have Godzilla in it. It's not a Godzilla movie. It is a Godzilla movie. Don't get me wrong, but it is such, it's such a good movie, and I'm not saying nothing about it until you all go to see it. It's period piece, the end of World War II.
Well, it's basically kind of like a retelling of the original.
It is
Godzilla.
You don't need the 45 movies that
you don't
have
need to
already
see
come
anything
out.
else.
You don't need to see any of them. Just go watch this. Sadly, I couldn't take my nephew because he didn't want to read subtitles, and it broke my goddamn heart. But I've seen it 3 times already, and I hope to see it again on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think Sludge, as of us recording this, has seen it 3 times. I think he's contemplating a 4th.
Yeah,
because also we have no idea when it'll get released digitally
in the States. Yeah.
Now, when Shin Godzilla came out a few years ago, that got to Blu-ray pretty quickly within 6 months or so.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
You really don't know. This movie needs to be seen on the big screen. This is like
that.
Going to see Star Wars. You need to see Star Wars on the big screen because it's so huge, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's scale.
It's
definitely
it's
no pun intended, but it's scale.
Right. I'm not kidding. This is a great movie. Again, that happens to have Godzilla in it. It's astounding.
I'm glad you said it because I was going to bring that up if you had some other movie that you were talking about because it's like almost a perfect rating on both sides. It's
Deathspaw was a great film, but no,
Deathspaw was amazing.
It really was.
Yeah, everybody should watch Deathspaw. Yeah.
Deathspaw's amazing.
Deathspaw's amazing. But
Nate, what about you, buddy?
It's funny. So this is the first year I tracked every movie I watched. Created the Letterboxd account.
Letterboxd, okay.
And actually used it. So I've watched 227 movies this year
nice.
As of this recording. Now, what shocked me, and next year I'll do it to where I will put a separate category for movies that actually came out the same year. I have not really watched much from 2023. Like, as I was scrolling through, I was like, wow, I'm kind of shocked. Usually I'm on top of it. And I don't know if that's just due to like stuff that's
I don't think much came. I don't think much came out. Honestly,
Kinda
I don't feel like enough came out.
When Evil Lurks is an incredible horror movie, but it's not my favorite movie of the year. I really got to give it.
Out this year?
Huh?
Did Nope come out this year?
Last year or 2 years ago.
Year. Okay.
Yeah,
like
because that was one of my favorites when it did came out. That was in my top 3.
Yeah. It was
but like When Evil Lurks, like that like shocked me how good. Like I had like an oh no face on the whole time. Spider-Man Across from the Universe is a masterpiece. Like
it's really good.
It's just so beautiful. But for me, it's how much fun do I have with a movie? How much emotion does it evoke with me? It's gonna sound silly. I think Cocaine Bear. I loved Cocaine Bear. That I have watched that movie.
Good.
I think like 4 times this year. Like it's just stupid fun. Like
that
it's gory as all get out
of a popcorn.
It's
film.
silly.
Oh my God.
We
it's
had a
so
blast
great.
watching it in theater with Pete and I. Like, it's just good. Like,
It's good.
Pete
Like,
and I tried
last
to do
year-
a live stream about it that was
We sure
utterly
did,
I
Nate.
dipped
awkward.
out.
You dipped out.
But like
Oh.
last year, I thought like Everything Everywhere All at Once like was
Oh.
the perfect movie,
Oh.
and it is. But then I'm like, wow, this year it's Cocaine Bear. 2023 was the year of Cocaine Bear for me, but I'm sticking by it, fellas.
Good.
Like,
Stick by
I'm-
it. You're not wrong.
I'm going to throw an honorable mention because as you're talking about it, I remembered it came out this year and I actually watched it in theaters, was Evil Dead Rise.
I was just about to say that.
yeah.
That is a fantastic movie.
it's a great.
And I still say I had the best viewing experience over everyone because I went to an older theater that didn't have perfect HD cameras and everything. So the blacks were a little grainy. It was a little darker. It was a little like dirty.
Grindhouse.
And
Yeah.
that's honestly, that's how that movie should have been done. Like I've seen it since streaming and going, oh wow, this really is polished. Like this is not this. It's not the same movie that Jackie and I watched.
imagine, yeah.
But I was like, that experience will never be topped right there because normally people would bitch about that. Like, oh, the picture was terrible. I can't see anything. No, this one was, it was like watching it back on old film. And it
Sometimes
fit
you want
that
to hear
movie so
American Pie on a scratchy record.
Exactly, man.
I mean, it was a good year for horror movies. Talk to Me lived up to the hype. I was amazed.
Talk to Me is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Evil Dead was a lot of fun, but
yeah,
I
have
just
an honorable mention also quick. My boss at work had never seen Rocky Horror.
Oh,
period.
really?
So I took her to a live show.
Oh,
at
there you go.
Studio
That's how you
35.
experience that movie.
And she had no idea what this movie was about. She had no idea what this community was about. And I took her to a live show, and she's like, "We're doing this again next year."
Awesome.
It's amazing. I loved it.
Sharing the love, man. Sharing
yeah.
the
Next year, I'm
love.
gonna keep track of what my worst movie was of 2023. That was
Feast.
well, that didn't come
Feast.
out in 2023. That's the
Doesn't
problem.
matter. We saw it in 2023.
We
Pete and I are
did.
sitting here talking about,
Feast.
wow, I didn't have time to watch Oppenheimer. I didn't have time to watch
Because
Avatar
we're watching
2. Because
three
we're watching
Feast
three
movies.
fucking movies of Feast for 4 hours.
Yeah.
See, we didn't get to vent
we-
all December.
We
All
could've-
December, we didn't get to vent.
You could have watched
Now I'm venting.
Oppenheimer instead. That's on me.
I could have. Probably could have.
I mean, honestly,
Should
Expendables 4
have.
was probably
That's
the
for
worst
sure.
movie of 2023. And I still had fun with it, kind of.
Mm.
It was when Tony Jaa and Jason Statham were beating up bad guys together. It's fun. Just wish it happened more.
Still haven't watched it yet. so.
Yeah, you know, just wait until you're bored and it
Oh,
happens
well,
to be streaming.
the Steelbook came out, didn't it, Nate? And we found
did.
it of all 4 movies. And let me tell you something, for Steelbook art, top tier. My
Very
God,
awesome.
I love it. But
Oh.
$70
Eat
for
shit.
3
Yeah.
movies that have been out for a while and
No.
one that sucks.
No.
To get all 4 on 4K in a Steelbook was $70.
Honestly, it should be
No.
like the price of the first one, and you just happen to get the other 3 for free.
$25. Done.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could have twisted my arm for 40. You could have twisted my arm for 40. I could have justified it as $10 a piece. They're all 4K, and I get a badass case. 70? Eat shit and live. Okay? And I'll take a line from Pete.
Sleepaway
Eat
Camp.
shit and
Yeah.
live.
2023 was the year where every movie decided to be just epic long. I forgot that Beau's Afraid. I didn't even bother watching it. I'm like, nah, it's 3 hours long, and I don't think Ari Aster's all that great. So you can't get me. You can't trick me. Even with
All right.
Walking Phoenix, you're not getting me.
Well, boys, is there anything else we need to add to
No,
this
this is
supersize episode for 2024?
Not
I'm
quite
glad
2
that
episodes long, but
yeah, I'm just
Right.
glad we are now decent enough to be able to cover Terminator 2. Because when we first started this, the idea of even doing Terminator 2 was too daunting,
It was
too
terrifying.
intimidating. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like scary. It's like, how do you do that? You can't. So
we
don't.
had a Pete, and then we did it.
Yeah,
All right. Everything was centric on Pete.
you're the seasoning of the podcast.
I am.
I just remind everyone we're only a
I'm the
month away
original
from
of
the
the
month
good
of
Give Me
Pete.
Back
Yes.
Joey.
Enjoy this episode because you only have 3 more episodes of fun until Pete month arrives, and that's
4
when it
more.
gets real bad.
We got 4 more.
Is there
Oh.
5 weeks in January?
January gives us an extra buffer before the
thank
month of Pete.
God.
Speaking of which, our next episode is actually another Nate pick. Again, all this
What?
was planned before Feast came out and was a debacle. So Nate got us watching over on the horror side. We are first time watch for me and Pete, Brotherhood of the Wolf with Mark Dacascos. Dacascos, I forget how you say his name, but anyway, dude, the badass dude from John Wick 3 and Double Dragon. Never gonna live that down, man. So yeah,
God, is that on February's list?
No,
I'd be okay with that. I'll be 100% honest. Compared to what I'm terrified of, I'd rather watch Double Dragons.
It's coming, boys.
Oh God. And then after that, Charlie finally gets a month. It's my birthday month for January. And I am pulling out the stops. We are doing a 2000 AD style birthday celebration. We are doing Judge Dredd, the Sylvester Stallone led 90s version. I cannot wait. And then I was like, you know what? There's another movie that is based on a 2000 AD comic strip. And we're doing my horror selection, which neither of you have seen, Hardware.
It's like impossible to find.
But Charlie has found it, and we all have copies of it. We will be fine. But we are covering the 90s. Again, killer robots, baby. Charlie loves them. Dylan McDermott, I think, is in this. Is a really early movie for him. So, yeah, we're doing Hardware. And then, before the month of Pete, we celebrate our 3-year anniversary, boys.
Tres.
Doesn't make any
3-year
sense.
anniversary of the show. We've been going that long, and I'll keep that movie under wraps just a little bit longer.
Oh,
Charlie's gonna play fast and loose with the rules, but we're gonna have some fun on the anniversary episode.
It's gonna be Cutie Honey, isn't it?
No,
you don't talk about it. It's bad. Bad Pete.
Don't invoke that name.
Don't invoke dark arts.
Don't do that. Beetlejuice. Just no, I don't want.
Don't you do that, man.
I'd rather have that than Cutie Honey. Damn it, I
so
said it
early
twice.
in the 2024.
One more time.
Oh God, no.
You do not know what you're playing with.
You are playing with forces beyond your comprehension. You can't handle the truth. Guys, for those of you that already follow us, thank you for following us on all of our social medias. Thank you for following this podcast. For those of you that are new and you just now found us, you can also follow us over on Facebook at Give Me Back My Action Movies, the Facebook group. Give Me Back My Horror Movies, the Facebook group. We are on Instagram under both of those names. We are on TikTok. We are on X. We are on Threads. We are on YouTube still. I don't know. I haven't logged into the YouTube account in a long time. We might be banned. I have no idea. I just let it upload episodes. I don't pay attention to it. Also, you can also find us most Wednesdays, at least every other Wednesday, over on the Action Elite YouTube channel, where we cover whatever the hell Owen comes up with. We usually have a good time. I just have to remind Nate that, we have to do it. So hopefully you can just go back and check out some of the older ones we've done. Yes, this is still a pre-recorded episode, but we will get back on track here very soon at the beginning of the year, get past Christmas. We haven't even hit Christmas yet as we record, a little behind the scenes there. So, gentlemen, is there anything else that I'm forgetting?
Oh, man, I'm good. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Here we go,
Uber.
2024.
Wait,
don't
did it
suck
already
2024.
happen?
Yeah, we're past New Year's.
All right, well, I hope you Ubered.
Yes,
you better have. I'm shaking my fist at you.
Hopefully you already set us up for an auto download every Tuesday. So if so, thanks for at least doing that.
No, just thank you, everyone. Let's make 2024 huge.
Yeah.
Bigger and better, baby.
And you know what? If everyone just sends Nate $1, he can afford a new.
No,
we're not. God damn it!
Now people don't fall for it. You're like one of those evangelical
It's a
pastors.
scam. It's a
Just
scam. It's a
one
pyramid
dollar.
scam.
One
He's going to ask
dollar,
$1 for
everyone.
$1,
I'm
and
the
next month
wolf
he's
of
going to ask for
podcasting.
$2, and then the next month he's going to ask for $3. It's a
We got
pyramid
the
scheme.
holy 4K. If we just get that 4K player,
If I can just get that 4K, it's what is willed for us as a community. Oh, we're not even gonna get like an hasta la vista, baby.
Community
Or like
of Nate.
I'll be back. Nope,
You
I
just
guess
did
that
it.
just means we'll just have to send Nate $1. That's all. If you give him just one whole dollar, then you won't have to hear Sarah McLaughlin's "In the Arms of an Angel," and I'll just post sad pictures of my puppy eyes and me holding up a 4K player or a 4K and just be like, my RoboCop can't play in this, and I'm very sad.
Yeah.
So, like, in the arms of a Peter
Preach
Murphy.
it, baby. Preach it. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Amen.
That's all I'm talking about. And maybe
Amen.
if
Oh,
I
Lord.
slap the
Oh, Lord.
Xbox,
Oh, Lord.
oh, Lord,
Oh, Lord.
heal this Xbox.
Preach it.
I command you to
Amen.
heal this
Amen.
Xbox. I need the 4K pixels.
I feel the power of the Lord in me.
Oh, the 4K laser I can see
Oh,
now.
oh,
It can see for only $1. Do
It's
you
moving me.
declare?
It's moving me toward the Lord. Oh, Jesus,
Oh.
bring me inside. Jesus, I want you inside me. Jesus, come
the
inside me.
laser is gonna work for Nate's 4K player now for $1.
Hallelujah.
If you get one of your friends to share $1 too, it will actually be a great gracious karma. 4K Kill Bill 1 and 2 will come out together.
Amen,
That's
Brother Nate.
yes. Other
Preach it,
movies
Brother
that you
Nate.
didn't think would come out. We brought you True Lies in 4K, and that was before even asking for $1. Imagine what will happen when we ask for $1.
Oh, more dollars. I don't.
Yeah.
Let's stop there.
Are you two
We're
done?
in trouble already.